A lot of credit, really good football team, well coached. Had a lot of challenges on our football team this week. But I do want to start by just thanking our medical team, Joy Thomas, Dr. Nelson, his entire medical staff. I want to thank President Gable. I want to thank Mark Coyle. I want to thank Sip, our head athletic trainer. We haven't played in 22 days, everyone. And I don't think people truly realize how hard it is and the right timing and the schedule and the natural and the progression of what has to take place. You've all asked the questions like that of what's it like, and I can just rattle it off because I know what it's like, but I've been in the process and it just sounds like it's, oh yeah, that's that easy to do, especially when you have multiple games canceled and, you know, this one being close. So, but 22-day progression, you got to give them all the credit in the world. And I'm really proud of them. And, you know, making sure that, you know, we have a safe environment. It's a very difficult thing to do in 2020 right now with the ghost in the room. So just want to say thank you to them and all the work that they do. So with that, I open it for questions.
First question will go to Andy Grader. Start us off, Andy.
Andy.
Hey, PJ, what were the key things that you were trying to do with your team to make sure that they had the response that you guys showed today?
Well, I mean, I think it's been well documented. I think you even put it out there. We have 4 D tackles, you know, that made the whole trip. We had 2 tight ends that made the whole trip. We were, you know, 1 offensive lineman away from, you know, being in a really, really, really position to get the game in. Because again, it's not just green. You might have 1 or 2 or 3 that pop up within the week, and then all of a sudden you look at your depth chart, and now all of a sudden you don't have anybody to be a backup. And we were that close. That type of position, it's very difficult because when injury happens, you got to give people reps. I mean, it's just unique. So we talked about, we just wanted our players to play with incredible effort for each other. And I thought they did that. They gave us everything they had. Defensively, we wanted to keep everything in front of us, make them put together 10 to 12 play drives if they were going to score. And we knew we could possibly get some takeaways. We took advantage of that. We got a good pass rush. It wasn't all the time, some by design, right? Being able to stay in our running lanes, especially with the quarterback power and the quarterback draw on the stretch and what they were able to do with Adrian, who's a phenomenal football player. But I thought when the opportunities presented themselves, we took advantage of it on defense. And everybody, but especially when you have 4 and there's 4 or 5 more out and you've got to rotate guys, and those guys have to take a ton of plays, and a lot of them are freshmen. That's very difficult to do. So got to give them a lot of credit. Our game plan was really good, really well put together, really good on defense. Then offensively, we wanted to be able to finish the game on offense. You know, I was aggressive. I told our team before, we're going to be aggressive. We went for it on some 4th downs. You know, we have a new kicking situation. The one time we went for it in their own zone, it was into the wind. It's about a 20-mile-an-hour wind at the time. It would have been about a 44, 45-yard field goal into the wind. And it was in your face plus a slight crosswind, which, again, I want to put our team in a position to be successful. And I think he could have probably made it, but I felt like we had a chance to be able to get a first down there. But how about the job of our special teams and Anders? You know, he's a 3rd-year player. He's a transfer from Minnesota State. He's a Minnesota, you know, he's a homegrown guy, you know, from Bloomington Kennedy, and just so excited for him and what he was able to do. But that was the common theme. You know, offensively, you looked at us, we were, you know, I mean, you know, we had 3 new players, starters. We had J.J. Gaudet in there and Nathan Boye and Ariante Ursary. Those are young players playing O-line against Nebraska at Nebraska, where this is the 2nd time we've won since 1960. That's a long time, everybody. And I know nobody cares about those things, but I do because that matters. And I thought, you know, we could make more plays on the outside. But again, those are young guys that have to fail and grow, but they made enough. Like Clay Geary made a huge catch on that last drive. And our running backs did well. 2 freshmen in there rotating with Mo. You know, doctors were kind of pull Mo out, put him in, pull him out, put him in. And a lot of that had to do with equipment, of getting him to feel like he needed to feel with the type of injury he has. Again, I'm just so proud of him. Here where we haven't won, you know, it's only the 2nd win since 1960, and 9-2 in our last 11 away games, which I think is really important. But again, you asked me about one thing, and I just love talking about these players. What they've been through is unbelievable, Andy. And I know we only see it from the outside, you guys, but the internal, nobody knows how hard it is for these student athletes right now. And when you're in it day to day with them, plus coaches. Andy, I got a great picture for you. I mean, I have a picture of my staff on the airplane that I took a picture, and Heather was laughing because I'm taking a picture of my staff, but they're 2 by 2, right? Spaced out accordingly. And 4 rows back, eight coaches, computers open, and their eyes are just shut. It's been a long season. It's been a long week. They prepared for a lot of people that didn't play. And it just shows the effort put into this. And I'm just so proud of everyone involved in the organization and the program. And we became 1-0 today. That was the main objective.
Next, we will go to Chip Scoggins.
Hi,
Hey, Chip.
PJ. Hey, how you doing?
Great, thank you.
About that last drive, the trust you showed in Tanner, first play route about he makes a great pass to Geary there to get you guys going, and just the way he played with missing offensive linemen and 3 tight ends and no Bateman. I know the stats might not jump out the page, but it seemed like he just really had a strong game in terms of leading you guys and keeping that offense together.
Yeah, I mean, we want to be as balanced as we can. I think we had 400 yards, around 400 yards of offense today, 200. That's kind of us, Chip. You've been covering us a while now. You might not see the 550, 600 yards passing, might not see the 500 yards rushing, but we want to be as balanced as we can be. And you guys have asked me, and very, very well put together and well thought out questions of, on the last few drives, we haven't been able to finish it on offense, and you're 100% right. And that's 100% on me. But again, as you're moving parts, you're finding out what your team can and cannot do. Then you have new players coming in, and they're showing you what they can do as it happens in real life time. And so, we wanted to mix it up a little bit more. What I thought we did really well was I thought Mike and Matt did a great job of mixing the first and second down throws up, from drop back to nakeds to the RPO game. And there was a better mixture of that this game too. This is a very difficult place to win. Numerous starters. You look at that offensive line at one point, guys. There was JJ Gade out there, Nathan Boye, Ariante Ursary. Nebraska D-line and front seven. So I'm really proud of the team, really proud of their efforts and coaches. And took all of us today.
Next, we will go over to Ryan Burns.
Hey, PJ.
Hey, Ryan.
You and Mike Sanford talked a lot about finishing was the key word this week, and you finally were able to get it done on that drive, and you got it done on the ground. What do you think changed for your guys up front, and having Mo fresh on that final drive? Do you think that played into it as well?
Oh yeah, Ryan. I mean, we weren't. It wasn't like we were trying to keep him fresh, right? It was just on a pitch count, and then he had some equipment things. The type of thing that he's kind of banged up with is it takes a certain type of pad to kind of take the pressure off of it, right? And there's multiple types of pads that you work out through the week, but he's not getting hit during the week, right? And so when you kind of get those live reps, one might feel good in practice, and then you don't like it, and you got to go change, and then depending on what really calling and what's working more, whether inside zone, outside zone, your head turns differently. And the work, I mean, it limits it. So you got to go down and go up and make it higher, make it lower. And it really was an adjustment. Our doctors did a great job, and SIP did a great job of pulling them out, getting them fitted, put them back in, pull them out, get them fitted. How do you feel? What can we do to make it better? And that's really awesome. When you have a medical team like that, they don't care how many yards he has. They don't care about that. They care about, is he okay? Is he feeling okay? And how can we make it feel better? And that's really cool to have, and special inside a program. But the last drive, like I thought we started with a pass, which was huge. Great catch by Clay Geary. You talk about guys that are, just stepping in, stepping up. We were able to throw a naked in there, and then we were able to run the football effectively. We had to get him timeouts at some point. And then at the end of the game, I mean, it's downtime. I know Mo probably wanted that next. They win the football game is if you score there. I know it much might be 99.9% that, the chances of winning goes that way, but there's that 0.1%. But if you go down and it's downtime and they executed it perfectly, the game's over. We can get into victory formation. So it was really good to finish it on offense. I thought our defense did a great job of holding them to a field goal. I mean, an awesome job holding the field goal at the end. Tremendous job by our defense.
We will do 2 more questions for Coach Daniel Houston, Meg Ryan. Daniel, start us off.
Hey, PJ, you talked a lot about getting younger player reps in game action. How impressive was it today to just see all sorts of guys making plays?
It's really exciting, Daniel. I mean, that's recruiting. And I know that everybody wants you to win 11 games every year. It's impossible this year in the Big Ten. But I think that, there's a progression to that. We knew we were going to be younger on defense, and nobody predicted COVID. And then you don't get the spring ball in the summer to really develop them. And then they're thrown into playing with a few weeks of preparation. And people that are a little bit more experienced probably have a little bit, better, more of an advantage that way. But we committed from the start, Daniel, that we're going to take 2020. I'm going to be very transparent with our team. We're going to do everything we can to win every football game. We're going to pour every resource into it. But I'm also never going to lose the sight of the big picture. I'm never going to do that. Not as long as I'm the head football coach at the University of Minnesota. And that starts with recruiting. I mean, and you look at how many freshmen played today and made plays and got unbelievable experience, which is only going to help us now, right? When they're good enough to win games in the Big Ten. They showed that as freshmen to help out. And there was a lot of them out there, everybody. I mean, maybe double digit. And then also look at the future. And everybody gets more eligibility back, right? And that's so exciting. And that's what this thing's about. This is that cultural sustainability we're talking about, of getting those high school kids in here, developing them. And, everybody wants to play more and everybody wants to do more and everybody wants more playing time, and it'll happen. And there'll be the progression. But this has given us an opportunity to play a lot of young kids. And you got a lot of young players who are failing and growing and succeeding and learning. And that's all we want to keep doing.
And last question will go to Meg Ryan.
Hi, PJ.
Hi, Meg.
Curious with the passing game. There seemed to be a couple of miscues with the drop passes and such. And being that this was the first game without Rashad, how did you think that kind of communication and timing, or just the kind of maybe individual errors were going on there with Tanner?
I don't think a missing player has anything to do with that. I think you either catch it or you don't. You look at, I think Daniel Jackson probably want 2 passes back, but he also made some big catches. And you look at, Chris Ottman-Bell had 5 catches, 82 yards. That was that type of game. It was like it was really windy out there. I mean, it was 20, 25 mile an hour winds at times. Whether you're into the wind, with the wind, kind of changed some things, the way you call it. But when you look, Clay Gary had 4 catches, 32 yards, big catches, first down catches. I saw some drops out there that we normally make, but there's a lot of things that go into effect that way. I think there was 3 or 4. And if you add that to, again, I always like to do that, because you add, 4 catches to Tanner's, it's 21-30, and it doesn't look like 17-30, but that was a tough day today. I think it was on both sides, but it doesn't matter what the conditions are or the circumstances. We got to be able to find ways to catch the ball. And again, they're going to learn from that. There's a true freshman running around out there, and we're relying on him to take the top off the coverage and make big plays. And the one that earlier in the game that he kind of dropped, it was tipped and hard to find, but he'll learn from that and he'll grow from that. They'll all grow from that. But I focus on how they stepped up. Forget the drops. I mean, Chris Ottman-Bell made some big catches, and Tanner made some big throws, and Clay made a big catch or 2. Daniel made a big catch. I mean, Trey Potts made, that's what I'm going to focus on. And then, we'll work on things with ball drills, and that's why you get back to work tomorrow, and you get back to coaching, and you get back to how can we make that better? So we'll go one more question, Paul. We'll do a bonus question.
Bonus question. If we have time for one more, then we will go to Eric Olsen, the Associated Press.
Hi, Eric.
Hey, I was just trying to get myself off of mute. PJ, can you give us you've touched on it so much, but I mean, this has to be one of your guys' grittier wins that you've had since you've been there. I mean, is that right? Or just put some perspective to do it without so many guys.
Well, first of all, okay, so let me put it this way. If we had the same situation, we would have lost, and I would have come in here and talked about our 33 out. Everybody'd be like, well, there's an excuse. I'm never going to make excuses. And there was no excuse. Our team's never made an excuse and never said anything about that. I just said there's challenges and situations everyone faces. Some have more than less. That's pretty much every year. But you got to find a way to get better, and you got to have a plan for it. But I do believe that unless you're inside the college football or maybe a college basketball locker room or facility right now, I don't think anybody has any idea how hard this is. Constantly changing roster management, injuries on top of it, opt-outs, not that, players testing positive for COVID day before a game, 2 days before a game. How you practice. We haven't done the scout team, guys, in weeks. We don't have enough players to put a scout team out there. This isn't a program with 190 players on it. Okay, so we don't have a scout team. So we've got to service each other. changes the way you practice. It also changes how physical your practices are, because you take that off and now it's ones versus twos, twos versus ones. And you need that type of look. We had 22 days off. Right? And again, there's a progression to that. There's a mental, physical, and emotional toll that this year has taken on everyone, especially these student athletes who are away from their families, away from their loved ones. And we have to be that for them as much as we possibly can. You have to be their dad. You got to be their uncle. You got to make sure. I mean, we have a kid, heading home right after this because he's got a family situation that he needs to be home for. Then he's going to come back on Monday, but he needs to go home. That's like those situations to and very transparent and very empathetic with, and very difficult when it's at times it's treated like, oh yeah, but that's an excuse. It's not an excuse. Somebody asked a question to me and was brought up to me, this is just in passing, about not one of you, but just about, hey, take the pandemic out. I'm like, how's it going? Like, we can't take the pandemic out. It doesn't make any sense. I can see like take injuries out of it. How's it going? That's part of the game. COVID is not part of the game. This is something nobody's been through. So to say that this is challenging is an understatement. This has been the hardest year I have ever had as a head coach. And I've been 1-11. And I would say our staff would say the same thing. And I would say the players would say the same thing. Because there's players that, they haven't missed a game in how long? And they've been able to fight through certain things. And whether you're hurt or injured, I get all that. But when you have to shut down for 3 weeks and you can't go anywhere and you got to isolate, I mean, this whole thing's about we're talking about our country, right? Coming together, right? Coming together. COVID, right? It's taking us apart. Come together. Let's have empathy. Let's treat everybody better. Let's come together. But COVID's doing everything it can to separate us. The college football locker room, college football and our culture is meant to bring people together. And this is pulling us apart. And it's so hard. Yesterday, I'm sorry to go off on a rant, but I think you asked, Eric, and my wife's sitting there going, okay. And she's right there. And she's like, you talk too much. But situation yesterday. I mean, our hotel situations as we go through, everything's virtual. Team meetings virtual. They come down, grab their meals, go back up to their room. There's no like team meal. Our team meeting was virtual. I read them a story. I read it to them on the Zoom. Right? I mean, our travel over here, the way we even came here, our pregame speech, virtual. Before they get on the buses, like it's so unique. There's nothing like it. And everybody's going through it for the first time. So you ask, I give our players a ton of credit, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's taxing on everyone. But keep your oar in the water and just keep rowing. And again, as I started my press conference, you have an elite medical staff and you have people that love your players, and you put people around that love your players, love them, truly love them, everything about them, not how they play, but love them as people. You can get through this, and you can not only get through it for today. So thanks everybody. The trip out here. Thanks for everybody who's covering us. Stay safe. Row the boat. Sky mile. Go Gophers. Thanks everybody.
Thank you, Coach. Next, we will shift over to the players, where we will start with Tanner Morgan before getting to Boye Mafe. Thank you, everyone.
All right, we'll have Tanner in here in a moment. I apologize. Give me 1 second. All right, here's Tanner Morgan.
What's up, guys?
All right, Tanner, thanks for hopping on with us. We're going to get right into questions, and we will start off with Chip Scoggins.
Hey, Tanner, can you take us through that last drive, your first play, the pass to Gary? How difficult was that situation to get it over the linebacker into the win?
Yeah, it was a tight window. We ran our little, we had a really good concept called, and Clay made an outstanding catch, fully stretched out to get it in there. But, he can make great plays. He's proven that in practice, proven that time and time again, and he proved it today, and he made a phenomenal catch when we needed it the most.
Next, we will go to Andy Grader.
Tanner, what did your offensive line show you, just given the fact of how shorthanded you guys were?
I think first and foremost, they showed how tough they are and how united they are. It doesn't matter who's in there. They're going to play extremely hard. They're going to play for each other for the benefit of the football team, because everything really starts up front. And they set the tone for us today, and they did an elite job. And so proud of those guys, the way they battled and played so hard today.
Daniel House, over to you.
Hey, Tanner, PJ talked at length about just the unique couple of weeks that you guys faced. How have you seen the team come together despite being so far away in many ways?
Yeah, it's definitely been different, right? We had obviously COVID, all kinds of different stuff out of our control, but we've controlled our controllables. And, through the stuff we've had to go through, we've become closer. Our bond's grown. And guys just really want to do things for each other at an even higher level than before. And it's a lot of fun just being around the guys. Having fun was something we talked about a lot this week, and just having fun playing the game, having fun with each other. And our guys definitely did that, and it's awesome to have the team that we have.
Next, we will go to Meg Ryan.
Hey, Tanner. I was wondering from your perspective that last kind of big play from Mo where he had the run and he could have, gone into the end zone and had that one final rushing touchdown, but he chose to slide and obviously seal the game. What does that say about him that, he can make that play and be smart about it, I guess, in real time and kind of it's an unselfish move, but it's a move that he has to do. That's called downtime. You see a lot of situational football. We talk about situational football all the time. It cost the Atlanta Falcons a game this season with Todd Gurley falling into the end zone. So, we talked in the huddle before, hey, it's downtime. So Mo busted through. He could have scored. But, I was yelling downtime. He knew it was downtime, and he got down, and, that's how he finished the game. That goes back to Coach Fleck talking about situational football. We go through those situations every week. He explains all kinds of different scenarios. So we're prepared for that. It's not like, what is this kind of thing? We're prepared for that moment. We capitalized that today.
Next, we will go to Eric Strack.
Tanner, what do you have to say about the young guys on your offense today? No Bateman, young guys at wide receiver, young guys at offensive line, young guys at running back for a lot of it because Mohamed Ibrahim was dealing with his injury and the pad issue. How big did the youngsters come up for you guys today?
Yeah, the young guys played extremely well. And again, we talked about it all week. It doesn't matter if this is going to be your first snap or your thousandth. Just play hard, play with extreme how. That's all that matters, and play for each other. We had a lot of guys, young guys, and maybe guys who hadn't played a ton in the past, but it doesn't matter. They played at a high level today, and they played really hard. That's all you can ask for.
Chip Scoggins, back to you.
Tanner, a couple things here. Did the hit you took on targeting, did that rattle you? And then also, what did you do to kind of keep your offense together? You're out your top three tight ends, 2 starting linemen, no Bateman. You had, I think, 4 drops by your receivers early. Was there anything you said to kind of keep your unit together there?
Yeah, the targeting is, just football. Don't really have anything else more to say about that. I honestly had no idea it was targeting until after that we were deciding to review it. But trust me, I was asked by probably every medical member on our staff if I was okay. They were concerned for me, but they were doing their jobs, and I appreciate them for that, taking care of my well-being. And then we had a lot of guys that we're in different personnels or whatever, but our coaches did a great job, first and foremost, of preparing everybody for their roles this week of what could happen, what might happen, what you have to be ready to do. And again, offensively, it's just, hey, whatever the play is, whatever happens, the situation, let's just go execute and play hard, play with each other, and go finish the football game. And extremely proud of how our offense finished today.
Next, we'll go to Jeff Wald.
Hey, Tanner, kind of piggybacking off that, when they got called for the targeting penalty, it kept your drive alive, and then you were able to turn it into points. How much confidence did that give you going into the second half to get a big score like that? And then just knowing that you kind of spread the ball around the day without Bateman.
Yeah, being able to score going into the half there was obviously huge for us. And then getting the ball after halftime. But yeah, being able to put a drive together and put one in the end zone is obviously good, no matter the situation or the time. But doing it right there was obviously huge for us to be able to execute after that penalty. And a lot of guys made plays. Gary had a couple of really nice catches. Crab, Brev, Daniel Jackson, a bunch of guys, were able to make plays. We have a lot of trust in everybody out there on the field. Position, they can make plays, and they've proven that time and time again for us. So yeah, it was really good to see that.
The last two questions, we'll go to Andy Grader and Meg Ryan. Andy, starting with you.
Tanner, you talk about trying to find the fun in the game again, and then you have virtual meetings and virtual pep talks and all of those kinds of things. How were you able to try to find the joy in the game given all of the weirdness of it?
Yeah, it was weird, but there's a lot of opportunities to have fun playing football because it's a game you love. Obviously, there's things that are going to be hard, but fun is overcoming adversity. Fun is responding. Fun is executing. Fun is finishing a game, finishing a drive. All of those different things, and being able to be around our team to have a chance to play football because we didn't for 2 weeks. That's fun. You know what I mean? So being able to even have the opportunity to play football is a blessing. It's something that we're grateful for.
And Meg, back to you.
Sorry, my unmute was not working. What do you think that this win says about the character of your team, Tanner? I guess just kind of looking at there's a lot of obstacles, right? You're missing a bunch of players from COVID. Guys like Mo are playing through injuries. I know Brevin was injured against Purdue, but he obviously was only tight end today that really could play. So I guess I'm just kind of curious, when you kind of finished the game and you came out with the win, what was the feeling that you got about what that meant for this team or what that said about this team?
Yeah, it was the next right step for our program because it showed our toughness to be able to come together and play through adversity no matter what happens, just play for each other and with each other, no matter who we're playing. Because it's about us, and then extremely proud of our team for coming together, overcoming adversity, and just playing hard with each other. I think it just showed how tough our team was. And again, super grateful to be a part of this team. Super grateful.
As always, Tanner, thank you for your time. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. I'll have a good one.
And we will wrap it up in just a few moments with Boye and Mafe. Thank you, everyone.
For 3 or 4 questions for Boye, and then we got to fly back. So Sully, let's make it quick. Boye is going to sit down and we'll go.
Awesome. Feel free to start any questions in the queue. Boye, thank you for hopping on. We're going to get right into questions.
How's everyone doing?
We're going to start off with Daniel House.
Hey, Boye, did you see something on film this week that led you to believe the speed rush would be effective?
Honestly, going into this week, we watched a lot of film on them, and we watched a lot of things on how they set and the way they move as a line and they move as a unit. And I noticed that, sometimes when their tackles have trouble, they chip with their guards and they bring their guards to help. So I felt that I had to set him up for that. So earlier in the game, I came with a bull rush, and he was feeling that most of the game. And then towards that end of the third quarter, just kind of let it rip and let one go. And I felt that he wasn't keeping up with me, and he kind of heard him feel like, I heard him say that. So I knew that he wasn't on my hip, and turned the corner and felt good on my behalf, and had the other guys behind me, was pushing up with the pack. We had the D tackles pushing up so the quarterback couldn't step up. So that really helped me. There's a lot of times you can create escape lanes with just distance between different pass rushers. So I felt the fact that we, pushed everything and condensed the pocket was most of the reason that was a successful pass rush for me.
Meg, Ryan, over to you.
Boye. I was curious. I know that you missed the Purdue game before this 2-week break. A couple of guys like Keontae Shad, Benjamin St. Juste had missed 2 or 3 games before the longer break that you guys took. How was that kind of coming back maybe from that layoff for a couple of you guys? Like, was it just exciting to get back out there and playing football? Did you feel like you had to feel things out again? I guess I'm kind of curious how you came back from such an extended time off.
I mean, being in that situation of not being able to play and especially not being able to go out with your brothers and play, it is hard. It's always going to be hard. This is a year that we're never used to. Being especially in a situation where neither of us or any of us were actually hurt physically, it's kind of those situations where you feel like you can play, but for the medical reasons and the way that Big Ten is actually taking care of us, we can't play. So to talk about that, it really felt it was hard. It was call a spade a spade. It was initially hard to say sitting at home and just waiting to play. It was hard. And when we finally got the opportunity to go back, we all actually sat in the locker room and looked at each other and talked, and was like, nothing's gonna stop us. Like, it's time for us to play. We've been sitting at home for so long, and it's finally our time to go play. And that's what we're able to do that today.
And perhaps time for one more. If anyone else would like to ask a question, feel free to pop in the chat real quick. Not received any more question requests. Going once. Andy Greeter, you want to take us home? One last question. Thank you.
Wait, what did you see from some of the interior defensive linemen that had to step up?
As a D-line, I honestly felt like we had a lot of, young guys step up. And I feel like as the interior, I was very proud of our interior today. I felt there's a lot of great penetration today. I felt them today. And I honestly felt the way that they were coming off the ball. And I felt the way that we were playing as a unit. No one really came out there and said that, we have a younger group or we have people that are out. We kind of said, this is what we have and this is all we have. So let's go fight with what we have. And I felt like everyone stepped up and took that to heart. And I felt like our interior played great today. And I felt them all game. And they were penetrating, making plays, doing things that are, maybe necessarily not just their job, but, making that extra play and taking those extra steps and really selling out today. And I was really proud to watch it happen today. It was something that really stuck to me. I told every one of them after the game, I said, you guys played your balls out today and you did your thing.
Boye, thank you for your time. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Everyone else, thank you for hopping on. We'll make this available shortly on the online press box. Have a great weekend, everyone.